appreciate your time. You seem to be a big hit here on the YouTube channel.
Tell you what, people have taste, don't they?
They got taste, this guy.
That's true.
So I wanted to ask you, because I did a video before on Modafinil, brand name Provigil. Did a whole long thing on it. Now I'm biased to it, but I know you got a prescription for it. And what's your take on it? What's your take on it versus being on it and not being on it? And how old are you?
69.
Okay, so you're 69 years old. You got a prescription for the Modafinil, Provigil. And how has that affected you?
Well, I told you when I feel 20 years younger. I'm alert. I'm awake. I don't nod off all the time in the middle of the day. You know, you just get to the point. You give me a chair, I can pretty much go to sleep. This stuff keeps you sharp, and no side effects. I don't put the coffee in the refrigerator anymore, or the car keys in the garbage. It just. Oh, I told you. I said this is Sunday. 2 weeks ago, yesterday, I doubled my Bowflex workout. So I'm up at 5:30 if I'm not up at 5 or 5:15. I do all my charting and everything else I want to do, see what's going on in the market. I hop on that bike, watch some videos while I'm doing it. And it's remarkable. And I've told you, thank you. I can't believe this. It's the quality of life is 100% better. It's remarkable.
And you're looking at 3 screens at one time.
Yeah, and it's hypnotic. I told you, I fell asleep in like 20:01 one day. I missed a trade. I put it on the wrong alert. It didn't beep. It was the one that came up in an email. I wake up. I go, oh Jesus! I went through $8. I got to, boom. What did I miss? 9 points. That's how fast these markets were going back then. A couple, 3, 4 weeks ago. Now I can sit there. And I'm looking for all these indicators. I'm popping my head right, left, up, and down, and it's remarkable. It's just absolutely remarkable.
Now a lot of people ask, do you have any come down from it? You know, like when you drink a bunch of coffee, you crash. If you take some shit Adderall, you crash.
I don't know anything about anything. I take vitamins, and if I drink too much coffee, I get a headache. But that's the coffee.
Yeah.
And I just drink the coffee out of nerves, probably, which kind of jangle your nerves even more. But no, there's nothing. Not a thing.
And it's not like a speedy thing. I mean, for me, I'm biased, so it's not like a speedy thing.
I think the quality of life is 100% better. I just feel so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, what is it, 9:30, 9:45 on a Sunday night?
Yeah.
I've been up all day. And I'm here.
Well, now you didn't take it today at all.
No, and I wished I did because I felt logy and not 100%. This election stuff is just jangling my nerves.
Now, when you say not 100%, do you mean 100% like you're going through like a withdrawal, or you're just back to normal Garry?
Back to normal.
Normal Garry.
Yeah.
So there's no like withdrawal from it, come down from it. You're not feeling like that. It's just you're back to normal Garry who needs a nap, needs his coffee, blah, blah, blah.
You talk to anybody my age, they need naps. Well, I don't need naps. And look, you know what this is like? It's like when you go to school and you got like 15 pencils. You got 15 pencils. You don't have to worry about pencils. It'll be about 3 days. You'll have 1 pencil left.
Yeah.
So in my stage of life, I got 1 pencil left. I would like to enjoy the time that I have. And, I'm upbeat. You know that. I always joke with people. You know that. And I just like being alert. And in this condition, it's fabulous. I just got my blood work back. The kid says you got the blood work of an 80-year-old. I go, what? He was Filipino. He goes, no, 18-year-old. I go, oh, that's better. Thank you.
You like that, right?
I liked it a lot better. Yeah, but I'm very fortunate. It's genetics. But yeah, just to be able to enjoy the day that much more.
And you were talking about before we came on about the Bowflex. You're able to do double the Bowflex now?
Yeah, the one when it first came out. But by the way, if you're ever going to buy exercise equipment, go on Craigslist, because most people use those things to hang clothes. Peloton is the new one. It's going to be a $2,500 clothes hanger. So I bought the when I moved, I got rid of most of all the other stuff that I had. Like you've got the treadmill I told you. I don't have the room for it. So I have a Bowflex. It's the MP, the middle one, 5, I guess, or whatever it is. And they have that 15-minute workout where it kicks you up 25 seconds. It's really high speed. Well, I doubled that. And no problem.
On the Modafinil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like I wanted to do it. I felt like I wanted to kick it up a little bit.
And how's your appetite and your cravings and everything like that?
It helps a lot. It really, I mean, I do love to eat. And so helps a lot.
And now you think the Peloton's what? The one where you're looking at somebody virtual and then, you think that's going to take off?
Well, here's what happened was you had the COVID, so all what they called stay-at-home stocks went crazy. Mm-hmm. And Peloton went crazy up to like 120, 125.
What was it prior to that?
I can't remember, down in like the 30s, 40s, something like that. But now it's dropped down to about 98 from maybe 140. I'm doing that from memory. So the perception is that people want to go back to gyms. Look, even my friend Jesse told me, we had him in, what we were talking. He's the lender. You saw him, right? He's got arms like Samson.
Yeah, he got big.
He almost lost an arm. He got a staph infection in one of those places on his arm. And they almost took his arm. I mean, because I had a dog bite, and the VA doctor didn't give me meds. He just cleansed the wound, and I almost lost my arm. I mean, I was in the hospital for a week, and they didn't want to let me go home after a week. So a gym just does not appeal to me. Now, if you're young and you're trying to hook up with somebody, I get it. I don't want to go to a gym. Okay, I don't want to see those people. I don't want to smell their sweat. I don't want to be grabbing the stuff that they're grabbing. So Peloton was hot for a while, and now it's sold off again. Now, Pfizer just said they have a vaccine coming, 90% effective, Trump's Operation Warp Speed. There's another one, Moderna. Fauci said that he thinks their results are going to be the same, 90 plus. It's going to affect companies like Peloton. However, you just have to understand people. They do things with the best of intention, and they'll go out and spend all of this money on this equipment, and they won't use it. I've broken so much. Nautilus is a terrible piece of equipment. The welds look like 12-year-olds in China made them, and they probably did. And I always take them to my buddy at the auto body shop, and I say, Andy, can you weld this for me? And he fixes my stuff. And I always complain, and my wife says, Garry, you use it, it breaks. If you don't use it, you leave it in the corner, doesn't break, does it? And that's the story of that stuff. But if you ever want anything like that, just go on Craigslist.
You save a lot of money. Yeah. Because like you said, they're used as clothes hangers.
Don't use it.
Yeah.
But one guy did say in one of the ads, makes an excellent clothes hanger. That's not how you get the best price for your stuff.
Yeah. Why? I know I got you into Apple.
Yeah.
So I had to show you. So I got the iPhone mini. It was a pain in the ass to get. This is the iPhone 12 mini. And that's the box. And this is the iPhone 11 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the mini. So to see the comparison.
And that's the 10.
So.
That's the 10.
Right.
Which one is that one right there?
This is the 11 Pro.
Okay. And
okay, that's the 10. And this is the mini.
And that thing weighs, because the people won't know it.
Yeah.
It weighs half what that 10 weighs.
Yeah. And the camera on this thing, the front-facing camera is insane. It's way lighter. You can use it with one hand. The camera on the other side, which only has 2 lenses versus this one has 3, it's better. The response time is quicker. The only issue I had with it is that I couldn't get it unlocked, so I had to get it with AT&T. And because it's 5G, it's a different SIM card. So the SIM card is a little bit smaller than what it is in the iPhone 11 Pro. So getting that in is a real pain in the ass. And then it's just, you have to turn it off, turn it on, whatever. But it transferred everything from my 11 Pro to the Mini. I mean, fast. Really fast. And I got the 256 gigabytes, so it's about $800. You can get 64 gigabyte, 128. But it's smaller. It fits in your pocket nice.
800 is a lot cheaper than when these.
Yeah, because if you want the.
They used to come out at 1,000.
Yeah, they're like 1,000, then 1,200, then 1,400. So it goes. And what happened was they came out with the iPhone 12 Pro, right? Mm-hmm. And that was 6.1 inches. Then they have the iPhone 12 Max. That's 6.8. So, I mean, that's a long stretch for your finger. You know what I mean? And then they waited a little bit, maybe production, because they knew it was going to be heavy. And then they came out with the Mini. And this is 5.4. So this is 0.4 less than what I had. But the screen ratio is a little bit bigger. They cut some things out. So, like where the Face ID is, there's a little bit less of that black spot. But it's quick. I love it. I mean, you can use one hand. Anybody can use one hand, do whatever you want on it. And it is fast. It is fast as can be. And I think this is probably going to be their best seller of all time.
Oh, it handles nice. That's for sure.
Well, because, everybody else says, they're getting the phones bigger and bigger and bigger.
I saw, who was I said the other day? Guy had a Samsung. That sucker had to be that wide. Oh, it was my AC guy. He came over. That thing was like that wide.
No, so that's the Mini. So it's got two cameras, but it's fast. So I mean, well, they came out with the iPhone SE, and they marketed that to kind of compete with the Android.
I got my wife that one. Is that the smaller one?
Yes, the smaller one.
Because that's all she wanted.
But it didn't have all the nooks and crannies of the top of the line one.
Right.
So now when they did the 12, they came out with the 12 Pro, the 12 Max, and now they have the 12 Mini. Well, the 12 Mini has all the cooks and crannies, same chip. Not quite as good of a camera as the Max, but the camera's just as good as the Pro. You know what I mean? So it's basically the SE on steroids. You know what I mean? Full screen, Face ID. I mean, it's a beast. And this is probably the best thing that they've come out with since the iPhone 6. When they went from the 5 to the bigger screen. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's going to be a killer. It was hard to get.
Well, when you got me into Apple, what you told me was that everything works off of one another. So I have the iPhone, I got an iPad. I always had the iPad. But now with the Mac computer, if I come home and I want to put a file in, the AirDrop, everything works together. So I have the two Mac Minis. One I use to trade, one I use just as a backup type of thing. But I have a PC for some things that I have to do that I can't handle on the Mac. Everything works together. It just makes it so easy.
Now, why are you still using a P? They don't make it for Mac?
It might be now, but when I first got the Mac, they don't have a photo dating app. And sometimes I have to date photos. So you can go in and it's called Gina Stamp.
On
and
Windows?
You go in, yeah, on Windows. But Apple has nothing to date a photo. It'll tell you how old a photo is, but I have to document this stuff. And
I'll show you. You can do it.
Can you?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Well, 2 years ago you couldn't.
Yeah.
And the camera that I gave Matt, the big Canon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those big SLRs like that don't have date stamps. So I was using this $500 camera without date stamps, and for certain projects I had to stamp the photos. So that's how I had to do it. Now I use a little Canon, and it's got the date stamp in it. So that was why I had that back then, and I still use it once in a while.
So then you got the Mini, but I went and got the Max when they first came, 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to be the best one ever, but it was running on Catalina, and it would shut off all the time. It would get hot, shut off. I talked to a couple of friends. I talked to my engineer. His was shut off too. It was a real pain in the butt. No, I mean, it's like almost $3,000 for this thing.
My Mac Mini can run 132 to 143 degrees. I have a little fan for it, and I put it on the fan. Doesn't do a hell of a lot, but I thought it was better than nothing.
Well, this would actually shut off. It would go zzz and shut off.
Which is a good thing, because otherwise you'd probably burn that compressor out.
Right. Well, then they came out with the operating system Big Sur, and that since I've upgraded to that, I haven't had any issues.
I have an update to do tonight.
It's still hot,
that's
though,
it.
but it hasn't shut off. So that might be the solution. But They just came out, I think, over the weekend with the MacBook Pro 13.3 inch, which now has their own chip in it. It's called the M1 chip, and it's supposed to be a beast. But I'm waiting to see what people say about it before jumping the gun. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You never buy. When they come out with a new model of truck or car, always wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always wait.
Because you never know what you're getting yourself into.
I don't care how many times the robot shuts the door. You're better off to sell 50,000 units and let 50,000 people shut the door. They'll tell you.
Yeah, when you look it up, they say, look, you know, the specs are really good, the tests are really good, but if you're looking to use this for, like, heavy work, wait like a month and let them correct all the issues that may need, you know, a little slap on it. Then decide if you want to go get it. You know what I mean? So now you were talking before you came in about PT 109.
Oh, we were talking about McCain, politics. We just you just released the one we did with Matt.
Yeah.
And I said about how
he's worried he's got COVID right now.
Yeah, great.
He's going to get a test tomorrow or the next day. Yeah.
So it's the whole thing. And then we talked about a caste system. So we were talking about McCain. And McCain disappointed a lot of conservatives. But you go back to the Vietnam War and he was shot down and Trump said something he should never have said about, I like my heroes not captured. That was kind of a dumb thing to say. However, McCain's history is that he let a missile go on the deck of the Oriskany during the Vietnam War and like 132 sailors died. He never was called up on that because his father was commander of the Pacific Fleet, Admiral McCain. And then we were talking about that, and then I said, have you ever heard about PT 109? And you haven't. Well, John Kennedy was an ensign in World War II, and he was the skipper of a PT boat. And they made a movie down in Key West. I knew a guy that his dad owned the marina, and he was an extra in the movie, and he told me a story about how they made it. But the real story is Kennedy shut his engines off. They were in a night patrol, and they were supposed to leave their engines running so they could make a quick getaway. And he shut his engines down, and the destroyer cut him in half. MacArthur wanted to court-martial him, but Kennedy's father was Joe, who was the ambassador to Great Britain. Actually, he was a bootlegger. Met Capone. Okay, he was big in that, and he became the ambassador to Great Britain. Sided with Hitler actually until Roosevelt recalled him, and Kennedy went because of his father from being court-martialed to receiving a medal for heroism because he did save some of his guys. But the way the Navy works, you either do what they tell you to do in the book, or if something goes wrong, they're going to hang you. They just do. That's the Navy. You go back and look, even recently, some guys lost their command. So it's the old saw. It's who you know, not what you know. It's not what you did. And for guys like us that are just street guys, we don't ever get a break. Nobody gives you a break. I never get a break. And neither do most of the people watching this video. And you're looking at it play out right now in this election scenario, which is a whole nother topic. But look what happened to Matt. Matt was a piker. Now, he did some stupid stuff, but 26 and a half years?
Matt Cox. You're talking about
Matt Cox. Yeah, the video is there. You might want to put the link down there, but he gets 26 and a half years, and the guy making billions pays a $61 million fine. That's how this works. And every once in a while, they'll throw somebody to the wolves. But you tell me why Hunter Biden is still a free man. Tell me why Hillary Clinton is still free. You know they copped all that money from Haiti. You know they did.
Haiti?
Oh, yeah, the Clinton Foundation.
I don't know about that. Haiti?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were going to raise all this money for Haiti and just never the money got raised. They just never shut up. How about the Joe Biden cancer research facility? raised what? 17, I saw today, $17 million. First I ever heard about it. No money went for cancer research. It all went for salaries.
I know that. Yeah.
Oh, look.
But what happened in Haiti? I don't know anything about Haiti.
I can't remember the exact circumstances about why it started, but the Clinton Foundation used the excuse of the Haitian people being in such trouble is to raise these millions and millions of dollars, and little to no money went there. That's what people are screaming about. Okay? But this goes on and on and on. You know, the money doesn't seem to get where it's supposed to be. Well, where do you think it goes? You've seen the pictures of the houses these people live in, these politicians. Barack Obama goes into the White House, $100,000 there, comes out worth $20 million.
Well, I saw Joe Biden's house, and it said that he has parking for 20 cars.
One of his houses.
One of them?
Yeah, he's got 3 or 4. Look at Bernie Sanders. He wants to be Secretary of Labor in a Biden administration. Some bitch has never had a job.
Now, what do you think about that, right? So he runs against Hillary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he runs this time. Now I think he would have given. Now I'm not saying he would have beat Trump, but I think he would have given Trump a little bit more of a run for his money, because he can argue. He's got his little following, and Bernie's not a dummy. I don't think he's a dummy. But
well, no, he's got 3 houses. He's lakefront houses. He's no stew.
But it's funny that he runs and he would have.
Well, there's no.
I don't want to say. I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Okay. I think. I want to ask you.
Sure.
If him and Biden were to go toe to toe to get the nomination, even though he's Democrat, he's independent, whatever. Who do you think would have won up against Trump?
If everything was fair,
yeah,
Bernie should have beat Joe like a drum.
Well, I don't have any doubt about that he would, and I think that he would have actually given Trump a little bit of a run for his money. Well, like fairly.
Biden gave him a run for his money, except it's totally crooked.
Well, I'm saying without the crookedness.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch, I love Sidney Powell. I mean, that woman, she's a great attorney. But her heart's in the right place, and I'm watching everything that comes out about her. And they have this dominion. Rudy Giuliani talked about 10 days ago. And it comes from Venezuela. Nothing good comes out of Venezuela. Venezuelans invented this thing. The CIA takes it to alter elections in other countries. Matter of fact, I didn't tell you this. Sidney Powell came out today and said Gina Haspel, that's the head of the CIA, should be fired immediately. CIA got their fingerprints all over this. So the way it worked was Trump's up 600,000, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in Pennsylvania on election night. I go to bed, I get up, he's losing in Pennsylvania. You don't lose those kind of leads like that.
Well, look, this is what I've heard, read, and talked to very educated people, is that Pelosi and I wish I could remember the name. They were behind these machines, and these machines went into, let's just say 40 states. I don't know the numbers, so don't quote me. I'm a dummy.
30 plus.
Okay. But these machines were invested in by Pelosi and whoever else.
Feinstein is a name.
Well, they went in. Where did they go into where they found out that they were malfunctioning and not working correctly?
Well, they worked fine. They just didn't work legally. And there's video today that had been produced. Let me just give you. Elizabeth Warren wrote a letter in 2019 warning that these machines could be manipulated. She didn't want to manipulate it against them. But you can tap into them. You can use flash drives. And you can pull all of the data out of them. Now, look, you have to use your common sense. You saw Trump's rallies. You saw Biden's rallies. Really, he can overcome a 600,000 vote deficit. You've got video of the secretaries of state of Arizona, of I can't remember. I think maybe Michigan. Just trashing Trump. You can smell this a mile away that something pretty horrible went on. And then you go and you have the rallies in D.C. I heard there was 1.5 million people there. When the people...
Oh, the one over the weekend?
Oh, one over the weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
When Antifa came out in the daytime, the Proud Boys stomped them, but good. When the crowds dispersed at night, Antifa came out and just beat the living snot out of some old guys that had Trump shirts on. Okay? And what I'm saying is, you got to use your head. Do you not think that if you back Biden and these people, that they aren't going to turn on you? I mean, Fauci and Jake Tapper came out today and said, well, you just got to cancel Christmas. That shit ain't going to play well in the Midwest. It's frickin' Christmas. There are people here that still believe in the birth of Jesus Christ, and they're pretty adamant about it. And there's other people that want to have people for Thanksgiving. Then Cuomo comes out and says, well, we don't trust the Trump vaccine. I doubt real serious if the orange man's in a lab, mixing beakers. It's coming from Pfizer. Take it or don't. But Cuomo said, we aren't taking it in New York. So Trump comes out Friday and said, we're not sending it to New York. So then what's the next headline you read? Oh, that bastard, he's not letting the citizens of New York get a vaccine. Come on, people. It's just common sense, and nobody's got any left. So, and by the way, the other thing is, well, Joe Biden deserves briefings. Jesus, you saw his kid sell us out to the Chinese. Why don't we just have Joe cut him out and why don't we just send our military intelligence to the Chinese? Cut out the middleman. He's expensive. We'll go to Z or whatever the hell his name is and say, we'll just tell you what we're doing and cut us a check. Because none of this makes any sense to me.
Well, what's in the channel? Everybody's going from Fox to not
Newsmax.
Newsmax, okay.
Newsmax local, by the way. You might try to get Chris Ruddy or some of those guys in here.
So Newsmax was on, right? They had the guy from Dukes of the Hazzard. I forget his name.
John Schroeder.
John Schroeder. And then who is Trump's lawyer?
Rudy Giuliani.
No, the other lawyer.
Sidney Powell's working for him.
Well, he was playing in the band with the guy from Dukes of the Hazzard. It was funny. Anyway, to get to the point, is that the guy from Dukes of the Hazzard was on Newsmax, and he came out and he said, look, like all these movie stars in Silicon Valley, De Niro, The Rock, and so on, they're all against Trump, this, that, the other. And this guy is dead set that Trump is going to overturn it. I don't know. I don't have an opinion because I'm done watching it, right? But he says, look, when Trump overturns it, this is what he's saying. All these guys that kissed the ass of Silicon Valley and the Democrats, De Niro and so on, well, when the movie theaters open back up, all these 40,000 people that you see at the Trump rallies, over. And I mean, that's bigger than a concert. That's like a football game. That's like a Super Bowl almost, right? And that's not counting the people that are behind in the parking lot, right? Well, they're going to figure out that they kissed the wrong ass when Trump overturns it. And the heavy Trump supporters are not going to go watch their movies. And they're going to realize that they kissed the wrong ass. And he came on that Newsmax and said that.
Well, look at what they've done to Fox. I hear Fox is down by 50%.
They're down 62%, actually.
Judge Jeanine was on last night.
Yeah.
I watched it because Sidney Powell was on it. They threw her off last week.
Well, Neil Cavato cut out on Trump. Did you see it?
I saw that.
Or not Trump, his press secretary.
Oh, we can't. This is unsubstantiated. What do you mean it's unsubstantiated? You just have to look at the numbers. The machines were in the swing states. This is where the problem is.
Well, again,
how many Senate and Congress seats? Let me ask you a question. Somebody brought this up the other day, and Hillary used to run with this all the time. They tried to use this back in 2016, and they failed. This Dominion software and all this. Now, looking back in time, do you really think Hillary won the popular vote? Trump came within 9 points in New York. In New York City, he got hundreds of thousands of more votes in the city than he got last time. The heartbreaking thing is this girl in Baltimore was running for Congress, and she had a great video where she walked through Baltimore, and it looks like a combat zone. And she said, Democratic politicians, blah, blah. The D'Alessandros ran Baltimore. That's Nancy Pelosi's family. And look at it. And the people couldn't even get Kimberly Clackett over the line so she could change this. Look at Chicago. What are these people thinking of? Look, friends, it doesn't work. You're living like dogs. Defund the police? Really?
Yeah, I know.
Help me with this. You see, nothing makes any sense, but they won the popular vote. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. And I'm going to tell you something. When these people get control, if they do, life as you and I know, it's over. Because Chuck Schumer already said it. If we win these Georgia Senate elections, we're going to change America. Geez, I think it's kind of good the way it is. You work hard, you make some money, you pay your taxes, you live a good life, you're successful, you're rewarded. Look at how I come in here to help you out, and all the things that I've watched you done. I've told all my friends, I said, this guy's the sharpest guy I've ever met in my life from a business point of view. The stuff you come up with, it just blows my mind. And you can't do that in Venezuela. And you might not be able to do it in America. Because you know what Democrats think? They think that every business out there is just a pot of gold that they can stick their hand in and take your share of the money. I remember we had a frozen yogurt shop in the days of
you had one?
AIDS, back in 88,
You
89.
had a frozen yogurt shop?
Yeah, man, I had some stuff in there.
Wall Street Gary had a frozen yogurt shop?
Well, yeah, it was
What was the name of it?
It was David's Yogurt because I bought it from the Stu Fagelas. And
How much was it?
I don't know. I think I can't remember what I paid. But the point was the Kroger's pulled out of the mall and they left us hanging. But I lost my train of thought. Oh, so we get this edict that we got to put a hot water heater in the bathroom because of the AIDS crisis. Mm-hmm. And my comment was,
what the hell is that going to do?
Thank you. They just come up with stuff. I said, so now we know that 110-degree warm water
they
will cure AIDS.
that now you need to that.
That's
which it doesn't do shit.
What?
Yeah.
Of course not. Yeah. Of course not. That's what Democrats do. You see, they don't run a business. They don't have any business acumen. They don't know what it's like. They can't respect the fact that that guy's employing 5 or 6 people or 7 people or 10 people or 100 people. Leave them alone because you're getting to tax the employers too. You know, so this is there's no respect for capitalism. You know, somebody defined capitalism. The socialism is taking thousands of capitalists and making them a few. Hitler, Fidel Castro, the Castro brothers, Stalin, billionaires. Now remember Nazi, and I can't remember the German for it, but it's the National Socialist Party, the Nazis. But Hitler was a billionaire. They don't have any problem with that.
See, now I got 2 problems. I got one. I haven't seen anything that Trump's come out with that is going to overturn this. Recount the votes. Well, they're going to recount them. It's going to be the same. So
they're having a problem with that now.
Okay,
so the recount in Arizona they just counted the same votes.
So look, I'm devil's advocate, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything that he's come with that's going to overturn this. You know, now if Biden wins fair and square, I'm all for him. He won. He beat him. All right, but I don't see anything that Trump is coming with and or his lawyers that is going to overturn anything.
A lot of people feel that way.
Well, I now, again, we talk about Sun Tzu, and Trump's been very quiet lately, mm-hmm. and he's not a quiet guy. And if you've ever read Sun Tzu, Art of War, he was in a situation, and he was kind of in a battle like Donald Trump is, and he was a very vocal guy back then. I forget the year. The 1500s, 60s. Whatever. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it was very vocal, kind of like
the
Trump.
books came out together in the mid-'80s. Art of the Deal and the Sun Tzu.
The Sons of what?
Sun Tzu, Art of War.
Oh, yeah.
Sun Tzu, T-Z-U, if I remember right.
That's what I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in a kind of a battle like Trump, and he went quiet. and then all of a sudden he came with a bomb. Now, I don't see a bomb. I mean, recount isn't going to do it. So I haven't seen anything with Trump or Trump's lawyers that's going to prove to the Supreme Court or anybody that there's fraud. Now, do I think there's fraud? That's another situation.
Do you? Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm not brain dead.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
To say that this guy got more votes than I mean, if I had any hesitation to the answer to that question, when they said that he got more votes than any president in history, yeah. I mean, they pushed it a little bit too far. But yet, I don't see anything that Trump has right now at the moment that's going to do anything.
Did we go over why this turned out the way it did? We might have in another video.
Yeah, we did. But I want to get past that because he's not coming out with anything. Now, what I can't figure out, okay, now, if you voted, you didn't vote, whatever, okay? If you look at Biden's policies, just what he said, which is not very many, okay? Because, how do I say this correctly? Biden is not going to be president. It's going to be Kamala. She's basically going to be your new president. Okay, now, what they want to do is after an epidemic, okay, you want to raise minimum wage to $15 an hour. You were going to kill small business. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. So now what's going to happen? There's two things that are going to happen. One, the bigger companies are just going to buy a robot for $20K and fix the robot when it needs a new chip for $500. The mom and pop shops are going to lay off people and try to do it all themselves
And then close.
and get lesser quality food or whatever it may be and then end up closing. So now after an epidemic, you want to raise the minimum wage. Now on top of that, Gary, you want to raise taxes on the businesses that are employing a lot of people.
And you want to shut cities down for coronavirus.
I was getting there.
Oh, okay.
And then you want to mandate another shutdown. And then you want to try to mandate mask wearing. Well, you can't do that countrywide. You can do it on federal land. But you want to try to put that in where you have to wear a mask. Well, you can't do it. The only thing you could do is sign an executive order where you have to wear a mask. Well, the only way that that's going to follow through is on federal property because he can't do it on state, county property. Now, if you just read that, I don't know.
Tells you all you need to know, doesn't it?
I mean, just on that, I mean, put the pieces of the puzzle
Tells
together.
you all you need to know.
And that's not even the half
If
of
it looks like it, if it smells like it, if it tastes like it, it is.
But that's the policy.
Right.
And I can't comprehend. If you don't like Trump, just don't vote, right? Because the policies that they're coming with, if it was Trump's policies, I'd hate him. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work, okay? And then you want to take away, the cost of college. Well, who the hell is going to pay for that?
You.
Okay, I'm going to pay for it. Again, another tax, basically, okay? And it just goes on and on and on.
Why would...
And now how you can sit there, right? And I had a black guy in, singer. Sounds just like Chris Brown. It will come out a little bit. I'm editing it. I'll put it out when it's at the right time. This guy, he's an African American. Comes in here. I don't know how he's going to act. I thought he was a rapper. I saw his lawyer documents. The guy comes in professional. He talks like classy. He's unbelievably smart. And he's actually suing Chris Brown. Chris Brown has the most streams out of anybody. And when you go through the email with his lawyer, the guy sounds just like Chris Brown. I mean, he's a monster. And he has a little T-shirt company, he makes T-shirts and stuff. And I put up on the screen his T-shirts, to help him out. And it's Trump this, Trump that. And I asked him straight up, I say, I didn't notice it at first, right? But I say, everything you got here is Trump. He's like, and he comes right, he goes, well, I'm a Trump supporter, right? Now, I'm a little bit thrown back, you know what I mean? And I say, well, why do you like Trump? Now listen to me. This guy's 26, and he rambled off why he liked Trump. Well, there's more people employed that are African American than ever because of Trump. He's got over 10,000 people out of jail that were wrongly convicted with too many years, African American out of jail. He's deregulated a bunch of regulations. I mean, this kid was naming them off, right? Boom, bada bang, bada bang. And I said, did you vote for Trump? Just seeing if you can answer me. He said, hell yeah, I voted for Trump. I vote for Trump all the way. Trump all the way. And this kid's 26. And his path to life was zigzagged like you wouldn't even believe. And he could break down for you why he had the facts. You know what I mean? And it was amazing to me because he had more facts than me and you. Or he could hang with you, not me.
But you saw that Trump had more minorities well, look in Florida. Tell you something about Florida. I go back with Susan Booker, who was the election commissioner in Palm Beach County, and we did some things around 2008. We were trying to help things out, and she supported me, and I supported her.
His name's Taylor. He's a beast.
Well, I'll watch. I'll say it when the thing comes out.
Oh, my God. This guy is unbelievable, this kid.
So Booker gets tossed the last election, and they bring in a new commissioner.
Cory Booker?
No, Booker, Bucher, Susan Booker. Well, anyway, she was a state senator, got the election thing, and she totally screwed it up, and they tossed her. And they have somebody new in. So the ballots came in, not for the presidential election, but something before then. And I filled mine out, and Belinda's was there, and I saw it laying there, so I just sealed it, and I signed her name to it, and I sent it out. Wasn't even thinking, okay? You sealed the ballot, right? And then you sign your name to it. It came back. They go, that's not her signature. Boy, she chewed me up, but good. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, I really, that's why Trump won Florida. Because DeSantis and the new election commissioner, they run a tight ship. So the people in Miami who came out of Venezuela, just like the Dominion machine, I guess, and the people that come out of Cuba. My AC guy, he was a physics teacher in Cuba, and his wife was an architect. So I had a problem the other day, and he came over. He's now a general contractor, and he's an AC contractor. And he's down there, he just looks at me, he says, you vote for Trump? I say, absolutely. Those people know what socialism/communism is. They weren't going to vote for Trump. And if they could have stolen Florida, they would. But you saw what happened. He even carried Palm Beach County, which, as you know, since we both live here, is horribly liberal. Take a look at the Palm Beach Post. My God, I wouldn't wrap fish in that thing. It's just always liberal in the way they frame. Well, Trump's going to have to bust up his helicopter pad at Mar-a-Lago because he's no longer president. He can only... What kind of news is that? I'm sure he realizes that that was part of the deal, and the helicopter pad will have to go if he loses. Okay? And I still don't think he loses. And the Democrats got something. If they can make this happen, let me ask you a question. How are they going to deal with 75 million people like me? Because he's not going to be my president. I mean, he's a friggin' socialist, and his family are a bunch of thugs. And how did he go from not knowing what city he was in and stumbling and spitting on his chin to all of a sudden being so coherent? How does he do that?
You tell me. Yeah.
Somebody's
now, let me ask
punching a needle in his ass.
Bill Barr, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think he's not... Now, when he first came in, I thought that he was a beast. I thought he was a gunner. Why do you think he is going halfway with everything?
They got rid of...
Do you think he got death... I think he got death threats.
Well,
but
of course he did. But
why isn't he going all the way?
I had a high school friend that worked at the State Department. Now, I don't go to high school reunions and all that, but I heard through the grapevine that he spent a career at the State Department. He said, oh, my God, these liberals. The government, a lot of these hangers-on are liberal, and obviously they're going to hate Trump. What Barr did was he fired the... Oh, he didn't fire the DOJ head of the Election Commission. What he did was he announced that he turned loose his agents, and he goes, if you can find irregularities, prosecute them, bring them to me. As soon as the head of the election commission saw that, he realized what was going on and his power was usurped, and he resigned. I think Barr is looking for evidence for a grand jury. Okay. Now the other thing is today was, well, Durham, he's not going to prosecute anybody, and he doesn't want to tick off Joe Biden. That is the biggest piece of fake news I've ever heard. A lawman's a lawman. He's going to do what he's supposed to do. Now,
but why is he going halfway, though?
I don't think he has. I just think that those kind of things take time.
So I think he's going halfway. This is my opinion. My opinion is that he sees what it is.
You're talking about Barr now.
Yeah, the Attorney General.
Yeah, he turned his agents.
What has he done fully?
We don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Who has he prosecuted? Nobody.
We don't know what he's doing. Is he gathering evidence?
Gathering evidence. He might only have a month to gather it, or he's done.
Well, what are you going to do? I don't know.
How much more evidence do you need? The document hasn't even come out.
I don't even know.
Well, in my opinion, he's either one, paid off and Trump doesn't know it. Two, he's worried about getting whacked. Or three, I don't even know what three would be. But I mean, listen, the document hasn't even come out. I mean. The thing with Hunter Biden, a hundred things.
This has gone on for years.
Yeah, but I thought he was a bull. But he says he's going to do A, B, C, D. He goes and does A, B, C, but never gets to D and E.
A lot of people feel
There's
that way.
There's something stopping him.
A lot of people feel that way. But if the Democrats think they got any great prize in here, they don't. Look, I'm going to tell you something. You know personalities and you know organizations and you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Already they're turning on each other. Did you see the Democrats are turning? Pelosi's not going to be speaker, number one. Number two is they were supposed to win all these House races. If you go back and you look at the speech patterns of Pelosi and all these, they knew they were going to win. That's why Biden sat in his basement. And some congresswoman said in one of these meetings, you knuckleheads came out with this defund the police and we got killed. And if we don't straighten up in 2022, and she used some very salty street language, she says, we're going to be destroyed. They're already turning on each other.
Now, right now, there's two people running in the Senate in Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. The Republicans only need one.
That's true.
Okay, where's that at right now?
Oh,
because that is kind of like the deciding factor, right?
Andrew Wang says, my wife and I are moving to Georgia. We're going to help. All the Hollywood celebrities are pouring in. There's going to be millions and millions and millions of dollars spent on this election. But in Georgia, to vote in this runoff, you have to have been eligible to vote in a general election. And already... Okay, they're saying, and we think that the governor Kemp is on the take with the Dominion and everything, but they're all on notice now that we're going to be watching, and they said nobody's going to come in here and vote illegally, and that's what they're trying to do. If they take those Senate seats, then Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker in anything that goes to the Senate.
But the Republicans only need to win one.
Correct.
Last week when you came in, we were thinking that they would have to win two.
Flipped a lot of seats. I'm hoping John James flips that seat in Michigan.
Do you think he does?
I think that they've used this.
Well, I'm talking about Georgia, right?
Yeah, if John James wins, it don't matter.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, you'll have. I think right now you're 50 to 48. So if they win those Georgia seats, it's 50-50, and then Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker. Yeah. I think we can kind of guess where she's going to go. But if John James could come in for Michigan with a win, look, they've gone back and recounted a lot of these down ballot races, and the Republicans have won every one. Tell me that's not fishy. Tell me that's not fishy. So look, it's Sunday night. It's about 10:30. You're going to have a big week. Because Trump said stuff's coming this week. Sidney Powell.
But you said that last week, though. Nothing came.
No, I said this week.
And no, you said last week. You said last week it was coming. Nothing came. All I heard all week was recount. That's not going to do it.
Last week.
You know it and I know it.
Last week, he said this week. So we're going to see what Giuliani comes
No,
in.
you were in here and you said Monday is Trump's coming with everything he's got. Well, nothing came. Recount.
I think I meant this Monday.
Wow. Okay. Maybe it's your old age.
I'll go with could be. I'll go with
just
Sydney.
fucking
I'll go
with
with Sidney Powell, and she's even taken over the space from Giuliani. She's got fire in her eyes. She said, "Oh, and by the way, another one is Victoria Tensing and Joe DeGeneva. They were in federal government. They're lawyers, and they just went from Twitter to Parler because she says,
Yeah.
I can say things on Parler. They aren't going to restrict us. So I looked today and I signed up on Parler to see what she was saying. She hasn't said anything
Yeah,
yet.
my dad did too. He went to Parler too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said, I haven't said anything yet. But, we've got people that are very powerful and very law and order oriented. And I've got my fingers crossed because I told somebody today, I said it was December the 16th, 1944 was the Battle of the Bulge. A few days later, Eisenhower calls together his commanders, Patton, Montgomery, I can't remember who had the First Army, Hodges, I think. And he said, look, and by the way, we took 80,000 casualties in that battle. The biggest, most casualties the Army took in the war. And he said, I don't want to see any glum faces at this table because the enemy, I don't know if you've ever seen the Siegfried line. I've seen it in person. They're huge concrete teeth, dragon's teeth, miles and miles and miles long, 20 of those things deep. And that was going to stop the armor from going into Germany. And he says, the enemy has come out from behind their fortifications. We can kill them in the field. So I don't want to see any sad faces. And that's what they did. They ran out of gas. The Americans cut them off, drove them back into Germany. It's the same thing here. This is a 2 decades long endeavor. They chose to play their whole card now because of Trump. This is my opinion. It was everything that I see. And where they screwed up was Trump was so popular. He had 600,000 vote advantage in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's all fracking. Who's going to vote to kill their own job? Okay? So when the underlings at Dominion see this, they had the algos. Well, he's got 600,000 vote lead. We got to come up with 650,000 votes for Biden. And they just started manufacturing these. And so the turnout in some of these places is 93.5%. You only get like 65% of the people to vote in a presidential election. So on our side, there are algorithms, there's mathematical formulas that can predict what should have happened, and these numbers are all whacked out.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
I got a friend in Pennsylvania, right?
Uh-huh.
There's 1.4 million people in Pennsylvania, right? But the votes that came in are 1.6.
Yeah.
Now there's 1.4. There's 1.4, and this is from a legitimate guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, down to the bone. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Forget about it. 1.4 million people are in Pennsylvania, but there was 1.6 million votes. I don't know anything, but all I'm saying is if there's 1.4 million votes or 1.4 million people in Pennsylvania, how in the hell is there 1.6 million votes? And that's just 200,000 that don't make any sense. Not to mention, God knows what else.
Uh-huh.
So now, in closing, what does he have? 30 days to make a move?
December the 16th.
Well, what no. He can delay the certification, and he's got more time, right? So explain that quick. He can delay the certification.
Yeah, the states are supposed to certify the electorates by December the 16th.
And you know why they're delaying hitting that button on the certification, right? To delay him to get it to the Supreme Court, whether he's right or wrong.
Well, if
Well, how can Florida count in a day, but Georgia can't?
If they can convince the authorities that the election is just out and out fraud, which to me it seems like it is, the Supreme Court could rule that the election is invalid. Then you go to the 12th Amendment. The 12th Amendment is that the electors, the Congress votes for president. Now we control the Republicans control 30 states, the Democrats the rest. So he would win automatically because you have to vote down party lines. The vice president gets picked by the Senate, and so Trump and Pence would get the next 4 years. I think behind the scenes, some things have to happen where the powers that be have got to understand and think about the fact that if the American public does not perceive these elections as honest, the excrement's going to hit the wind oscillator. Nobody's going to cooperate with the Biden administration. It's just going to be awful.
But do you think that's actually going to happen?
Yes.
Though? So you're still thinking that Trump's going to overturn this?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Do you know how many combat veterans we have back in the States?
I just don't think he has the time.
Oh, it's going to get nasty. You know, Antifa's out there right now. Republicans don't do anything, and they're there and they're burning. Do you understand the guy in the street who's just trying to make a living, and a guy like Biden's going to come in and take his job and take his Christmas and take... Nah, it ain't going to fly.
The only thing that makes me think that maybe you're right, as again, we went back to like half an hour ago, is The Art of War, that book. I've read that book. I've read Machiavelli and The Art of War so many times you can't even, you don't have enough fingers and toes.
You had a lot of time on your hands.
I had a lot of time on my hands, right? And the more I see what's going on, and I think back to the readings that I've read, I mean, it can't even be closer. So if you have not read Machiavelli the Prince, not the other shit, Machiavelli the Prince, that's pretty much the one. Sun Tzu is pretty close, but if you read Machiavelli the Prince...
We should do one on Machiavelli.
Yeah.
Machiavelli.
We'll do that next week.
Yeah.
But
you want to talk about how you told me about Machiavelli and why I should read it? Can you do that?
I'm not quite sure. but I'll tell you. Because I like Tupac. I like Tupac. He's you don't know this. You're 69. You don't like this kind of stuff.
He got killed in 1996 in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I can tell you how he got killed and why. Yeah, P Diddy killed him. I got the FBI agent coming in. No, he knows who killed him. P Diddy killed him. Puff Daddy killed him. $1 million to kill him. Prove him. But the guy that went to a proffer, when you sign a proffer, I said this on another interview, so I don't like to repeat myself. But when you go into a federal proffer, right? I tell you everything, but anything I say, you can't incriminate me, right? So if I tell you I killed somebody, you can't come at me with an indictment.
This is like confession.
And it's confession, but you can't make me testify against anybody either. So and I've already said this on all of them, but I'll say it again too because I like you. Okay, in your time, you would have liked Tupac if you'd listened to Tupac, even though he's not quite up your alley, you'd like him. But, so there were 6 people in the car that whacked him. Only 1 lived. Sean Puffy Combs got rid of all of the other people. Or had the Crips get rid of the other people. Suge Knight, who was the head of Death Row, everybody thought that Suge Knight killed Tupac. Suge Knight didn't kill him. You know, he made $1 gazillion for him. You know, they were in a little bit of a contract dispute and shit. But he didn't kill him. Sean Puffy Combs killed him. I mean, it's flat out, there's evidence, but they can't do anything because there's only one guy alive that was in that car, and he signed the proffer. So they can't make him go testify. They can't use the evidence that he has given the FBI to testify against anybody. He comes in and he says, look, this is what happened, A, B, C, D, E, but you can't use this in anything. But they took it thinking that they could find somebody else, but everybody's dead. Okay?
So were they killed after the fact, the other occupants of the car?
They were killed within 2 years after.
Oh, okay. So it was after the fact,
right.
Yeah.
So Tupac, who changed his name legally to Machiavelli, okay?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Legally changed his name to Machiavelli, okay? Goes to a Tyson fight, okay, at the MGM. Now, this is really what happens. No bullshit. You can look, Greg Caden. He was the FBI agent. He's coming in. He'll be on here, and then if anybody thinks I'm full of shit, This guy has every document. I have all the documents in my email. It's coming. All right. So now, and Tupac had the best lyrics you'll ever hear about anybody. Smartest guy. I mean, now he got into a war, but whatever. So now, what happens? Okay, so now Tupac is with Death Row Records, which is Suge Knight, Bloods. You okay? Sean Diddy Combs is with the Crips, kind of with Biggie Smalls. Okay? Remember, do you know what Biggie is?
I know the names.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that I'm getting down or anything with this, but
all right. So they portrayed it like it was Biggie against Tupac, and that's how it was portrayed. But it really wasn't Biggie, because Tupac got shot 5 times and lived. And he thought, because of the people around him, that Biggie shot him. But Biggie had nothing to do with it, because they were friends at one time. Long story short, Sean P. Diddy Combs hears that there's a contract on his life from Suge Knight, who owns Death Row. So Sean Diddy Combs pays $1 million to the Crips in California, right? They snatch a guy's chain. This is a long story short. And it was a Death Row chain, blah, blah, blah. This same guy shows up at the Tyson fight, okay? Just, it happens. He shows up at the Tyson fight, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, computer. Piece of shit. Well, you're going to have to learn how to cut that. Well, maybe we'll go back to this. What the fuck happened here? I'll cut this. Oh, what the fuck?
bingo.
So Tupac goes to a Tyson fight. Death Row chain stolen. Purposely by Sean Diddy Combs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like $30,000, okay? This guy, Tyson wins, he's boys with Tyson. Well, the guy happens to be in the place, right? So Tupac is with Suge. Boom. Beats the hell out of this crypt. This guy's name was Orlando Anderson. Beat his ass. Plummeted him. Suge beat the shit out of him too, right? Now, Suge says, take your bulletproof vest off, you're with me. Now, that made everybody think that Suge killed him. But Suge was just, you don't want to mess with this guy. You know what I mean? I mean, he'll kill anybody. He'll kill your family, your dog, your cat, you name it, right? So Tupac goes in the BMW, says, you know, I'm with my guy, whatever. Well, they get to a red light. A white Cadillac rolls up on them. Boom, 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 boom. On fire. 6 guys in the car. They hit him like 11 times. He lived for 7 days with the 7 bullets in him after getting shot 5 times. Okay, long story short. Orlando Anderson was the trigger puller. 2 years later, guy's dead. Everybody's in the car is dead, but one guy. His name was Keefe. He avoided getting whacked by Sean Combs. Okay, this is proven. Documented. Okay, but they can't do anything because of the proffer. So now, they know that. So now, Biggie Smalls goes to California for an event. Sean Combs is his manager. Should never let him go there. Okay? They go to an event in California. Now, Sean Combs gets word that there's a hit on him from Suge Knight. Because you just killed Tupac, his best guy. He sold 20 million records in 1996. You know how much money that was? It's a lot of money to kill your main guy, right?
Yeah.
So now, they walk out of the club. Sean Combs gets word that there's a hit on him. So Biggie gets in the first van. Sean Combs was supposed to be in that van. He walks back in and says, hey, Biggie, I forgot something. He gets in 3 cars behind. Now, Suge already has this planned out. Okay? So now they're following the car. They think they're not trying to kill Biggie. They're trying to kill Sean Combs. P. Diddy, whatever the fuck his name is today, right? Well, Suge's guys pull up. Sean Combs ain't there. So what are you going to do? Tell the guy to stop shooting? Well, Biggie's there. Fuck it. We'll just kill him. And they kill him. And he's dead. Now, you don't know this because it's not your thing. But before, and I'm sure I'll get killed on this. This probably won't even get monetized. But before this, Sean P. Diddy never had Jennifer Lopez, never had Revolt Television, never had anything. He was, just a producer. He's a nobody. Now, Biggie's dead. Tupac's dead. Now he rises up. Now he makes a song with Faith Evans. He blows up. He buys Revolt. He's got Ciroc. He's got this. He's got that. These two guys dying was the best thing that ever happened to him. Now he's worth 6, 7, 800 million. But Sean Combs was behind it all. Killed both of them. And that's fact. That isn't conspiracy or anything like that. It's true. And when Greg Caden comes in and he's so mad that California put it to a cold case. But they did it because God knows what money they got paid off. I mean, California is not the place to be right now. Let's just say that. And I love California, but that douchebag in there, what's his name?
Gavin Newsom.
Ugh. I mean, people are moving to Texas and Arizona left and right.
Did you see the New York Post yesterday?
No.
300,000 people out of New York City. They got a zip code in Manhattan.
Blasio. You know Blasio isn't even Blasio? That's not even his real name. He's not dying. Blasio's name is not Blasio. Look that up.
I will.
I got that from Rogan.
But there's a zip code in Manhattan that's like empty.
Yeah. No, there's like an astronomical amount of like apartments and townhouses available.
Do you remember when Matt was in, we were talking about CDOs and CMOs and tranches? Yeah. Well, I saw it in Zero Hedge. But the new Big Short is a CDO for commercial space in New York. That's where the action's at. They're just beating the hell out of that thing. There's no business.
Yeah, Weber's leaving.
I don't know. You have to think. First thing Biden wants to do, and Fauci, has always been in the woodpile. Why do they want to shut everything down? Why do they want to destroy? Because then you're dependent on them for those checks.
I know.
It's amazing.
I think a lot of people hope that you're right, that you overturn it. I don't see that he's got it.
Well,
I don't see that he's got the time.
What am I going to do? Am I going to sit there and, oh my God, what can I do?
No.
I told you last week, or I told you the night of the election. You were asking me. I said, you just work.
Yeah.
That's all you do. You kind of move ahead. Because they're not going to be able to do a lot of the stuff that they're talking about.
So now the last time I asked you, well, they can't do a lot that they're talking about if the Republicans keep the Senate.
Well,
if they don't get the Senate,
you're going to have a lot of moderate Democrats that are going to see the handwriting on the wall and realize we're going to slaughter them in 2022. And they'll pull back, and they're just going to... The Democrats think they're just going to get all of this stuff through, and they aren't. Okay, because people go, oh, hold on a second here. Okay? And he's just laughing. He goes, people are getting their paychecks. And I go, what happened? So, it's like waking up after a big drunk, and this is what's going to be. It's going to be ugly, but I just look at it like if Biden does win, people are going to find out in a hurry that they got snookered.
So last time I talked to you, you said 70% Trump.
Yep.
We're a weekend, nothing's happened.
I still got to go with the man. I still got to go.
What percentage?
75% we win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gary.
He's got several ways to do it.
All right, Gary. Well, thank you for coming in. Thank you for spending your time. You're great. You're a killer. I don't know how you're doing it, but you're killing it.
Whatever's good for you, man.
You're a great man. You're a great man.
Thank you.
Thank you.